got the juice, we get it poppin'. Tune in every week, you know we droppin'. City with the prettiest chicks, they jaw droppin'. Turn up your speakers right now and get locked in.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Janitra with 50 Deuce Radio, and I'm here with the creator of Inspiron Logistics, Mr. Scott Dettling. And it's a pleasure to meet with you today. How are you?
Good, yourself?
I'm awesome. Thank you for asking. I'm here in Jacksonville, Florida. Although I have on my leather jacket, it's 60 degrees. I think it's pretty cold outside.
Hey, we're up here in Akron, Ohio, just below Cleveland, and you can see my cowboy hat. It's cold.
Well, I'm loving the hat, by the way.
Yeah, well, you know what? The Browns and the Buckeyes are keeping us warm.
Okay, you a Buckeye fan?
Come from Ohio, you gotta be. But I mean, being in the top four, you know, doesn't hurt either.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to the next part of this interview. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Scott?
Sure. My name's Scott Dettling. I am the founder and CEO of Inspiron Logistics. And what that does is it provides emergency notifications. So what does that mean? When you get an Amber Alert, or if there's a tornado warning or a school shooting or something like that, one of those unfortunate events, counties, states, military bases, hospitals, they use our system. They log in and they instantly notify the public, citizens, employees, students of what that impending scenario could be.
That's awesome. So you are the reason why my son said that we need to move to California because we have tornadoes and hurricanes here. I said, but if we go there, they have earthquakes. But he really wanted me to move somewhere else because of the alerts that we get.
Oh, yeah. One of the funniest things is, we do business all over North America, from Mexico to U.S., Canada, and beyond. It's funny, I've been doing this since 2003, and a lot of times I used to, travel and go see these people, but a lot of Zoom meetings, as you can imagine, lately. But it's funny, after I give a presentation and demonstration of our software, they'll be like, where are you guys from? Where are you? And I'm like, Cleveland, Ohio. And they're like, that's great. Nothing ever happens in Ohio. And I'm like, hey, I never thought that'd be a selling point, but yeah, okay.
Well, being that we are having this meeting over Zoom, how are you and your close peers handling or coping with the coronavirus?
It's been good and bad. It's been good, because so many companies now depend on our system. We have, for example, we have Continental Tire that just deployed our system in all their facilities in Mexico and also in Canada, in addition to all their U.S.-based operations. And it's pretty cool seeing how they use our system to get, daily protocols out and, what they need to do, what not to do. We see hospital systems use our platform, as a daily check-in, for, feed, temperature, and have you been in all the, different steps that you'd be asked if you went to a doctor's office. They use that for their employees, just to cut down on the bottlenecking at, during shift changes at hospitals. A lot of ways, of course, informing the public of new mandates or precautions and things like that. So it's been great seeing our system being used as a critical communications entity for all these different organizations. One of the bad things or the cons is that no one's in the finance department to cut us checks when we need them. So we have clients that still owe us money back from last February. And you're kind of like, come on, man, you were 2 weeks late before this coronavirus thing. I thought that was a beer a year ago, and now come on. But it's been good and bad. But you know what? It's also made us just that much more of a disciplined company. Our employees have been great because they've been given so much more levels of responsibility where they're working at home and this and that. And I was never an employer that checked every moment you punched the clock or you took lunch or how many vacation days, this and that. As long as you got the job done, that's all I cared about. And one of the greatest things is just how our employees have responded through this. Just being wonderful working from home.
That's amazing that you guys are able to do all of that and still have a positive attitude. That is so awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
What influenced you to get in this line of business?
It's a funny story. I wish it was a little more sexy, but simple fact is that during 2003, I was a communications consultant down in Washington, D.C. for the Department of Education. And I wrote the first iteration of our software as I was a software engineer. And the reason I wrote that is because every week some jackass in a private plane would come too close to the district. And all of a sudden, every federal agency would have to be evacuated. And, that would have been great if, I was a salaried employee at Department of Education, but I was a consultant, which means if I wasn't sitting at my desk, if I was at Starbucks waiting for everyone to say, hey, come back to work, I wasn't getting paid. And, I was doing well down there, but man, the living in Washington, D.C., my beautiful wife and I, our nose was barely above the waterline. So I needed every single hour I could get, to just live down there. And so I wrote the first iteration of our software just to get everybody back to work so I could start building again. I wish it was something more noble, but that was it. And so the funny thing is that one by one, these federal agencies were like, hey, can we get a copy of that? I'm like, sure. And my buddy's like, what the hell are you doing, man? You should be selling this to them. And Inspiron Logistics was born shortly thereafter.
That's an awesome story how that got started.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with all that being said, what are the pros and cons for the line of business that you're in?
Sure. Starting with the cons, it's a very, very serious business because most of the time our system's used, it's for first responders. Like, for example, we have the entire state of Iowa and, the sheriff's departments and the state highway patrol, the department, Homeland Security, they use this like every minute, believe it or not. If there's an accident, if there's a missing person, if there, just to keep it's literally another form of communications for them. So it can never have a day off. It can never have a minute off because it's literally a critical continuity tool for them. And without that, it's just it's like not having your mobile phone. But imagine if it's not just you calling up saying, "Hey, how are you doing?" It's literally people's lives at stake. And so the thing is that just the serious of the nature of the business. And the funniest thing is, man, I met Aaron, down in Florida when we were on vacation. We were down there. It was his birthday and my wife's birthday. They shared the same birthday. And he can attest to this. The only time anything happens to this system is when I'm dressed up and getting in a cab to go out to dinner in Florida. I could be sitting in front of a system where my engineers could be Monday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Nothing ever happens. But if it's Christmas Eve, sure enough, something bad's going to happen and someone's got to go in and restart servers and things like that. But so it's very, very serious. And but at the same time, it's also a pro because, not to mention, the child was a special needs child. And immediately the county emergency management director, she immediately goes into our system, draws a 5-mile circle on our mapping component in the system, and sends out a call to every house, every business, every tech, every mobile phone, social media. And within a few minutes, a gentleman called and said, I saw this kid, and he was actually, I found him in the middle of my living room when I got home, and he asked me to drive him to his father's house. Well, when he drove him to his father's house, he went inside, but no one was there, and all of a sudden they immediately used our system to backtrack who the father was. Called the father. The father was like, "Oh my gosh, that's actually a new home that we bought, that I took him to this past weekend, that has no utilities, it's a fixer-upper that we bought to flip." And they sent cruisers out, and within 10 minutes, they found the child upstairs in a sleeping bag, sound asleep. And so, the coolest thing in the world is, when you see something you've created that's being used to, really help people and save lives. It's the coolest thing in the world. And it reminds you why you do it day in, day out, and you embrace the seriousness of how important it is.
That's an amazing story. Like, every second counts, but for you guys to be able to backtrack and find him that way, that is awesome. That's like a real testimony, because without that service being provided, Lord knows what could have happened and how long it would have taken to find him.
Absolutely.
And that, I have 3 cousins that are autistic. Mm-hmm. And they are the ages of 26, and the twins are 25. So just being that close to the type of situation, that is truly amazing. Like, seriously, that's awesome. I'm just like, I don't know if you saw my face. I was like,
And one of our best friends, has an autistic child, and just seeing the kind of mother she is to this beautiful boy, it's amazing, and it's just, you just, like any child, but even more, you just sit there and wonder how scared he must have been, and just, and the great thing is just seeing our system work, and not only work, but also work when something is so time sensitive. And another cool thing is just, you can send out all the notifications you want, but to have people actually listen to it and not, just let it go to their voicemail, and you can see by listening to it within minutes, not hours, not days, within minutes, that beautiful child and was safe.
Absolutely. And that leads me to my next question. Besides being able to save lives and get the information out to everyone in a timely manner, what motivates you to go as hard as you do?
Well, I would say just once again, the nature of what we do. It's interesting, not to touch on a sore subject, but for all these school shootings, seem to were kind of kicked off from the Virginia Tech school shooting. Yes. It's weird because no one really remembers much before then, but it was amazing because I actually spoke to the vice president of student affairs probably 10 times before that, and he was sitting there saying, "No, we're good. We've got an email system," and I was trying to explain to him how, that's great, but it's kind of like, a PO box or your mailbox. Your mail's going to sit there until you go out and get it. Where text messaging is like a push technology. We're pushing information to you, and we see how just mainstay it is in today's age. You know what I mean? It's like, and so. We were only maybe one of 5 companies back in 2005, 2007. Now there's hundreds of companies. And, it pushes us to work harder, but more importantly, to innovate and build. And, we've got a great system, but you got to keep working every day. You got to keep innovating every day. And the funniest story is that my company, people love me and hate me all at the same time because I'm the worst of 2 evils. I'm a software engineer at heart, which is horrible because anything that when iPhones came out and apps came out, I'm like, we got to do this, we got to do that. And what's worse is that I'm the head of the company, which I can approve. Oh yes, so we end up building a lot of, or we used to, and it's taken discipline for me to keep focused and not want to build every single thing all over the place. But yet it's still very, important to constantly innovate, constantly build. And when you see new technologies come out, embrace them and build on them because it makes your product even better. And in turn, it makes the value proposition for counties, states, hospitals, military bases, what they get and in turn the taxpayers' money, more of a value.
Okay. Absolutely. Well, guess what? You have created something amazing.
Thank you very much, Anitra.
And I know you said, I believe, if I heard correctly, that you started in 2003, right?
Yes.
Okay, so from 2003 to 2020, I'm sorry, what is the biggest award that you've received or the award that you're most proud of receiving?
I would have to say the best award that we won, and I can't remember the year, but it was called Neo Software Association, so Northeast Ohio Software Association, and it was basically we got the Best Emerging Company of the Year award. And the cool thing about that was I was good friends with 2 of the other nominees that were owners of their companies as well, which, Janitra, between you and I, just awesome companies. Where it was one of those situations where you're just like, what the hell are we even in this category for? Because these guys are night and day ahead of us, and just I was just so enamored by what they did, and not only their product offering, but also how they operated their company. The culture in their company. It wasn't this. You go to work and you punch a time clock and you work till 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whatever. It's just they had a really cool. It kind of reminded me of like a Steve Jobs kind of environment, where it's just like no one how many hours they worked a weekend or a night or this or that. They were all always trying to, they were really excited about what they were doing. And to make matters worse, not only are we in a category with one of these companies, we're in a category with 2 of these companies. So I'm like, why even go to this awards event? Because it's just, the food better be good because that's going to be the high point of my night. And, but because I so respected the guys that we were in company with being nominated for this award, I brought all our key managers, and so we're sitting at a table, and and ended up winning. And I was just like, are you serious? Like, part of me was like, get out of here. It's like almost like a prank. And the cool thing is my beautiful wife was there, my key employees were there, and it was just like in Janitra, I didn't have any acceptance speech or anything like that because it was a waste of time as far as that was concerned. And the cool thing is, kind of like this interview, I just shot from the hip when I was up there, and it was just a humbling, wonderful night because I was saying how great it was living in Arizona and working in Washington, D.C. and this and that, but finally coming back to Ohio and building something and employing, the great engineers from where I came from was the coolest thing in the world. And then to be recognized from that, I mean, come on, are you kidding me? And so it was just, I got to say, that was probably one of the coolest awards we ever won.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, that is a very, very good story. And like when you said that, it made me think about the award shows when they give up and give their speech. Like, I didn't think I was gonna win.
Yeah. It was a great surprise.
Again, congratulations on all of the accolades and awards that you have accomplished so far.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any advice that you can give any entrepreneurs that want to start their own business?
Absolutely. One of the, you always hear, when guys are asked this question, or men, women, whatever, they always say, well, keep trying, never give up. And it's so, you hear it day in, day out. And the thing is that it really is true. And the cool thing was, it can be, when you fail again, you continue to fail. How discouraging can it be? You know what I mean? People are like, what the hell are we doing? And then you couple with that with the fact, like, you don't have the security of a paycheck every 2 weeks or something like that. And the thing is, yeah, man, it can get discouraging. It can get depressing. But like, one of the coolest things was my dad gave me advice very, very early on. When I was younger, and it was as long. I just always looked up to him, and I'm like, how do you become successful? And how do you? And he said, he was always like, it's not about money or this or that. Just two simple things: always be honest, and always work hard. He said, Scott, you do that, and you'll have more money than you can possibly spend, but more importantly, you'll be happy. And so in those early days of failing, where you really question yourself, like I said, what the hell are you doing? Come on. While you may not be making money and you may not be seeing clients or units sold or that, as long as you can honestly look at yourself in the mirror and say, I work my ass off and I'm honest as shit, the coolest thing in the world is you're on the right track. And you couple that with just patience, anyone can get there.
Always be honest and work hard. I like that.
Yeah, it sounds like something written on a bathroom wall, but it's absolutely true.
And patience is a virtue. I really, really like those three things that you said there. So do you have any shout outs, or is there anything that's coming up that you would like for us to know about here at 50 Dudes Radio?
Just kind of going along with my last point. I'd have to say my shout out would be my beautiful wife, because she was, we've been together for 20 years and dating, 8 years, 7, 8 years before that. So she she could sit here and attest to those early days of failures and this and that. And the coolest thing is that I remember a story about we had two kids, and I was trying to get this company on, and she's pregnant with our third, our beautiful daughter, who's now 13 years old. But she's always been unbelievably supportive, but she, at the same time, is a kick-ass mom, and responsible to the point where she's like, "Look, honey, we got 2.5 kids here right now. Maybe your entrepreneurial days are behind you because working and is just not paying the bills." And she was absolutely right. And there's going to come a day where budding entrepreneurs are going to have to make the decision between being a responsible parent and being an entrepreneur. And sometimes, you gotta do what's best for your family. And the coolest thing in the world is, we went out to dinner that night, and I remember coming home and I gave her a kiss, and I sat there and I said, "Baby, please just give me 2 more weeks. If in two more weeks, if this doesn't hit, I swear to God, I will go get a job at CompUSA," which most kids today are like, "What the hell is CompUSA?"
Right, they don't know what that is.
Yeah, they're like, is that like a clothing brand? I'm like, no, never mind. But I'll be the happiest guy in the world, but just please, sweetie, give me 2 more weeks. And she said, okay, all right, Scott. And in 2 weeks, within that 2 weeks, things just took off, and I just, I commend her as just a responsible, wonderful mother, but yet someone that still believed in me, but was kind of sat there with a stopwatch, like, come on, let's we got to bear some fruit here. So that would be my shout out for sure.
Awesome. And I want to thank you, Scott, for being on with us. I want to thank you for the amazing system that you brought to everyone to help save lives and get the word out there when there is a storm or an emergency. That is such an amazing thing. And I've always wondered who made this, who thought of this system. So it's definitely a pleasure to have met you today.
Absolutely, Janitra. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome. And this is Janitra, one of your favorite correspondent with 50 Deuce Radio, and we're out of here. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. 50 Deuce, we got the juice, we get it poppin'. Tune in every week, we droppin'. City with the prettiest chicks, they jaw droppin'. Turn up your speakers right now and get